headphones. So while Kiddo was laying down for about an hour, let's get this. Okay, so this is the first part of my lasagna. I already started, but then I figured I should probably show what I do. We don't have a blender because it went out a while back and we just didn't have the money to get another one. But we do have this. So this is what I'm doing to the tomatoes. I should probably also start the infusion. So I've got my pan out. I didn't get my oil out before I started though. Whoops. Might want to start with getting ingredients out. You want a medium-low type setting to start off, starting off with our extra virgin olive oil. I'm out of fennel seeds, but those usually go very well. I'm not wearing it. I'm out of fennel seeds, but those usually go pretty well. You'll probably hear me just as well with it sitting right next to me. Maybe a little bit more just to cover the bottom. Now while I'm doing this, I'm going to start another pan with meat. Because this is a meat sauce. And I need this burner. I need this one, and it is the only big burner that we have. So that would be medium-low on the old ovens that use word settings, but that would be 3 on the regular oven, on the regular stove. Adjust as needed for your own stuff. Some ovens are different, some stoves are different, but that's what I'm doing. So I had my meat defrosting in the fridge the day before. The last thing that goes in any sauce is going to be the meat, but the rest of it doesn't actually take that long. A lot of this is going to not go in the sauce, but in the lasagna later. So I'm probably going to do that stuff separately. But the sauce is supposed to have some meat in it, because it is a meat sauce. But should I make a meat sauce for this, or should I save it for the lasagna? Because I'm already mixing it up with the meat sauce that I already made. I'll do it. So, we're going to use one of these, because I need to cook the other one for layers of what Chris refers to as yumminess. I'm going to put this back in the fridge. Actually, you know what? I'll probably start these right after I do the sauce. I don't know. Nope, I'm starting these now because I always put... Nope, I'm not doing it. Make up my mind. The battle of indecisiveness. I'm going to put that in there. And where's the garlic? This glorious little thing works and makes this significantly less tedious. Okay. I'm going to finish cutting up this tomato. With this paring knife, you can use any knife that cuts through it really. But yeah, this is how it works though. I'm basically manually smashing it. Yep. Okay, so but as I'm heating up my oil, I want to start putting a little bit of garlic in there. I at least want to start my oil on infusing. Let me move this so that I can bring over my other cutting board. I had to plug in my laptop. Yeah. So I'm going to cut off my end here. Now normally if you cut this by hand, there's another way to do it where you leave that the wider end a little more intact, and then you can sort of use it for the purpose of chopping with a knife. But this is a bit easier. I'm not usually that into cooking gadgets, but cutting garlic can get pretty tedious, so I make exceptions for the things that really bug me. There is no shame in using cooking gadgets if you need or want to, even if you do not have something that makes some things difficult. It is really good to remember that people back in the old days, I used to hear no end of crap about this, that people back in the old days also had like a dozen people or so in the kitchen to help cook. So, there is no shame in just deciding that something takes too much time and is too tedious. There are things I don't mind doing, and there are things I mind doing. Cutting garlic happens to just be one of those things that is super tedious. So, since this piece of garlic is a little thick, I am going to go in here and cut it in half, long ways. Then I'm going to use this and put it in here. Now, once again, I'm out of fennel seeds. Fennel seeds are really good because they bring out the flavor really well in sauces, and this is not burning up enough to be able to see the pan. So, also, always wash your hands before cooking. I know you probably already know this, but in case somebody else finds the videos, I do want to make sure that I say that. I'm just moving it around. Alright. We don't want that too high because burnt garlic ruins everything. Well cooked garlic is great. Overcooked garlic is bad. Alright, so I started that, so I'm going to move this over for a minute. Because while I am infusing my oil with garlic, I still need to be working on the rest of my tomatoes. Now, tomatoes are really expensive where I live. My grandmother used to talk about moving up where you do, and being able to get them by the bushel. You cannot do that here. So I'm going to use the fresh ones that I have, and then I am also going to use canned. And I'm going to save some of the fresh ones back to add closer to the end, specifically because what that does is that freshens up the flavor a bit and basically helps you cover up the taste of canned. There is also a technique that I learned growing up where you also mask the flavor of the canning process, and I'll be doing that as well. It also works with jarred. Most of my grandmother's sauces that she made while I was with her were not made from fresh tomatoes. I had to learn that afterwards because she just decided that that was not something that she wanted, so I had to learn that afterwards. Some of it I actually learned by doing what you're doing now, watching YouTube videos. Jean is actually the one that usually likes the cooking shows. I call it food porn. Yeah, him and Chris like to eat. I just look like I do, which is kind of disheartening because people just kind of look at me and they expect me to eat more than I actually do. And then the people that know me are like, you don't eat enough to sustain a bird. That's what a friend said. She's also one of our roommates. We have 2 roommates. They're a couple. Very nice people. Whenever we first became roommates, me and one of them used to text each other furiously because we both have strong personalities. By strong personalities, I mean I'm very honest, and not everybody always takes that well all the time. I learned tact about it as I got older. Alright. This needs to be turned down. Do not want to burn the garlic. Burnt garlic permeates everything. There are 2 things you never want to burn: spaghetti sauce and garlic. Or should I say tomatoes and garlic? Spaghetti sauce is both. You will taste that shit throughout the entire thing if you do. It's messed up like that. Okay, now I'm going to add some other seasonings that are dried because, you know, that's cheaper. And also because my basil and stuff hasn't gotten big enough to harvest yet. So I'm actually trying to grow some fruit plants. I don't know how they're going to survive the summer though, because I've actually done this before and had them all die. The moment that summer came, you know, so. Also can't have thyme in the house because the cats will eat it. Turns out it's closely enough related to catnip. This one is not open. Did I grab the wrong one? No. This is rosemary. Okay. Also trying to grow rosemary, but not having much luck with that bush. For some reason it doesn't want to even sprout. I'm on like my 4th attempt with the seed packet that I got. It just doesn't want to happen. That was rosemary. Okay. Ah, yes, very aromatic. We don't want to overdo it in the oil with too many different flavors, otherwise it just doesn't go well. You want your most important ones in there. Now for this, I am going to find the thyme that is open. You can tell I use a lot of it because I have backups. Thyme is very good in spaghetti sauce. The Italian seasoning that you buy at the store that we find anyway is basically basil, thyme, and oregano. It's lacking a couple things in here, so don't just use this. I'm actually not going to add any oregano besides this because it's, or at least one thing I wanted. What is with me and grabbing the ones that haven't been opened yet? Probably because they just got put up there without checking. Got two. Yep. Also not open. I was preparing for spaghetti sauce, and I usually make a larger batch. It's kind of important that the fennel seeds are something that we just leave while we can because they are ridiculously expensive. Arizona sucks like that. But with fennel seeds, the funny thing is that you don't need a lot of them. Aha, found the open one. There we go. Get that. I will add some more garlic in a little bit. I just want to make sure that it's infusing the flavors that I want. Okay. already have started to end up with new ones. So I actually think that this is probably enough for now. The rest of it will get added after it's kind of simmered for a bit. Just want to make sure that it's broken down enough to kind of end up in the sauce. And as soon as I get this part in, I will start on the meat. You don't have to infuse it in oil very long. Butter also works. Butter takes flavors very well. But then so does olive oil. And this is my fresh tomatoes in here. With my oil and my seasonings. I'm going to adjust my temperature to kind of try and get it to heat up. And then I am terribly sorry about this, but since I cannot pause the recording, you're going to have a time of pause because I need to go to the little girl's room. Bird. Sorry, I have problems. I was trying to avoid that during the course of this. This should not have been on all this time without something in it. If I had thought about it before I had to go, I would have turned it off. So, yeah. Just to point that out. Oh, that's right, I can still add more though, so. This was in the freezer. So, I think some of it's actually still frozen in the middle. A little too hot. Break it for me. This is ground beef, a pound. We thought about trying to get it in Walmart or something, but it's about the same price. Arizona is insane like that. I've heard that you can go to places like Texas and it'll be cheap. Not in Arizona. So you gotta budget and be careful. So we try and buy meat whenever it's on sale. Barring that, we get the little 1 pound packets from the 99-cent store down here. Keep some of those in the freezer. I'm going to trim this up. And go back to, I wish I could edit this because I really don't want to leave that long pause in there. But it's not a long pause I can help. So let's see. So I'm just going to get Chris out. It's been laying down for almost half an hour. Maybe I should put it lay down longer. Okay. is more waiting than labor intensive. Okay, let me see. Yeah, okay. This one. I'm going to get a rosemary on in there pretty early. That was Italian seasoning, which is a blend of herbs, basil, oregano, thyme. It's specifying basil, oregano, and thyme. So, but I still do stuff after that. This is just a shorthand way of doing it. Also, because I use it on other things, you know. These seasonings a lot. Let's get a rosemary. Oh, I'm doing it again. Where's the open one? Did I? Oh, no, wait. This one has the thing on the line. I always do that. It's the secret. See, we don't just put seasoning on the sauce, we also put it in the meat. Whenever you put the seasoning in the meat as well, what you do is you kind of make more flavor to be put in with the rest of the sauce. So I put some rosemary in here to give it more of that plump rosemary. Okay. Alright, kiddo. Let's open up the windows and the blinds to the kitchen. No, put on your shoes and socks and go play. You have to see my favorite couple. Alright. Yay! Shoes and socks. I'll take care of this. Oh wow. What? This would have been a no-no. Yeah. I did that last piece of garlic on a cutting board that I did the tomatoes on. That is a no-no. What it is. Now, Chris, you're going to have to wait for me. Remember, I still have to watch you. I know it's right across the street, honey. Chris, you want to drive the trash can over here whenever you get the chance? Yeah. Why don't you go invite your friend over and then, oh, Tim? Tim, when you get the chance, can you get some of the stuff that's getting tall?
Mom?
If no, I'll just try and do it.
Mom?
What?
Trash can.
Not right there. Right there. Thank you.
You're welcome. Why is that not on?
Because it's getting a little tall and Chris got bit out by something out there, and so did I. What?
Mom, why is that off?
Maybe a bug repellent for the patio or something.
What's all in here? Sauce?
Yes, Chris. It's a smaller batch from spaghetti sauce. I thought I could use mostly fresh tomatoes if I stuck with a small batch. And this is the meat. I think I'm gonna put a little bit of garlic in there.
Garlic?
Yup.
Mom, why is this piece off?
What?
Why is this piece off?
Because it gets sticks on here so it doesn't get lost. Do you want me to have something sharp under there? Pick it up and then cut my hand?
No.
Well, then that's why we take it off.
Stop.
Yep. Better than the garlic press my grandmother used growing up. My grandmother used. I mean, she taught me how to use it and then never touched it again.
Why?
Don't worry about it, kiddo. Just don't worry about it.
Yippee. Mom?
Hey, leave that alone. Do not play with the cabinet. Love you too. We need some this done. Alright, I'll watch you go get your friend. back there. Go get some vitamin D. Boy, blinded by the light. Gotta give one of my eyes some time to adjust. Everything's just... My eyes take in more light than they're supposed to. Glasses doesn't help. Here we go. Looking good. At least from what I can see. Lovely. Okay. Chris. Not on the patio. Go out in the yard. Stay where I can see you. Sorry, one of my eyes is worse than the other. Got blinded, so this eye's all kinds of messed up on color. It'll last for a little bit. As long as I don't get it too bad, it fades. Chris, throw those out. Throw that out. Chris.
Yes.
The other parts too. It was a hoo. It got left out in the sun, broke to bits. Well, first it lost its outer stuff, then it broke to bits. Christopher, you got until the count of 3 to stop playing with it and bring it inside. 1. Don't you talk to me like that. 2. In, now. I think you might need a timeout, honey.
Wasn't reading nothing.
I didn't talk about reading.
What were you saying then?
That you need to get your butt in here with those pieces. I don't want you to get hurt on the broken pieces of plastic. Now I think you need to go stand in timeout.
I misheard you.
Now. In the one I can see you in.
Not that corner.
That corner. And we got plenty of corners in this house, Chris. You're illustrating exactly why you need to be there whenever you Throw a fit about it. Ah. There ain't no excuses in this house, and you know that. Now we don't want to overcook it because then it will not taste great in the sauce. So I'm just going to cook it up a little bit more, and then I'm going to take it off the hot burner. And I'm going to do a couple more cloves because Jean likes things very garlicky. Let's turn this on a little bit. You're halfway there. You're doing a good job. Sometimes they don't want to, they get caught on the thing up there. Is this one just staying there? There we go. AuroraLalune, come out. And what were you doing whenever you were wishing it to do? What were you doing while I was making sure that you did it right first? You were back talking and yelling, weren't you? So why are you in the corner? I don't care if you think you deserve it. I don't want you playing with broken pieces of plastic. You can get hurt. Are there any more pieces of that Frugal out there?
A little bit. Not much.
Go pick them up and bring them back inside, honey. Okay. And put them in the trash can. I might as well get some stuff done over here while waiting. You're on a time limit. Do not play with them while you're doing it. Don't do that.
What? Yes, Mom?
I now have a welt on my hand. Don't do that.
PC?
Right there.
You have PC? What?
No, I pinched myself in here. I didn't put it down and do this. Instead, I did it while I was holding it. You don't do that. Stand away from the stovetop here.
Okay. I'm gonna go disappear in the backyard.
No disappearing. Stay where I can. Chris, come here.
Stay where I can see where you can see me.
Yes, stay where I can see you.
Hello.
I don't want you going around the side of the house where I can't see you. And I think you already know because of that you stay in the fence, right? So if you ever find a way to open up that gate, don't. Okay?
Okay.
Shouldn't even be over there.
Okay.
Okay?
Okay.
Just stay where I can see you, so that if you do something that isn't okay, I can tell you. Because remember, I don't do this because I don't tell you not to do things that you want to do because I like to have to do that. I tell you because finding a piece of broken plastic and playing with it can hurt you. So when your hula broke, we don't play with that. Throw it out. Okay?
Okay. At first you said you could do something with it.
Yeah, at first I thought I could do something with it. But then I picked it up, and the piece that I had broke apart, so I threw it out. That doesn't mean play with the rest of it, okay?
Okay. And Mom, the first day of me and Zanita, the first day of second grade.
Yeah? Honey, this was like 2 years ago. No, you do not mess with this.
Okay.
Don't name the schools or anything, Chris.
At the beginning of second grade,
Not while I'm recording. Because more than a second cousin could end up seeing this. And we don't want to give away information like that, okay? Not on the internet. Okay. What? Yeah.
I jumped off the screen, but I did not know that I was not allowed to jump off the screen.
Yeah.
But I
think,
told the teacher, and then she said that I couldn't jump off the screen. And before that, I couldn't jump off the screen. So I didn't get it again.
Good. Now I'm cooking this down. Probably gonna use some tomato paste. I don't need it yet, honey. Go play in the
I'm
yard.
going to go play in the backyard.
Because I'm gonna let this simmer while I'm working on the rest of it. Oh, yeah, I didn't actually mean to put those two in yet. Oh well. What?
No, I don't want my lightsaber.
No, not right now. Have you earned that back?
No. Little Buggy wants to get in.
Well, that's why we shut the door, because we ain't heating and cooling the outside, and we ain't housing the bugs in the yard. How's that? They ain't paying rent. What?
What's this doing in my play basket?
It's not supposed to be there. Hand it to Tim. I think that was your guys's.
We used it to fill up the pool.
Yeah, but that wasn't supposed to be in your play bin. I didn't put it there.
I didn't.
I don't know how you just found it, because last I saw that thing, I put it in the laundry room. I don't even know if it still works now. What? I put it in the laundry room. I don't know how it got out there.
I don't either.
Move, Lucky, move. No, Lucky.
Chris.
What? Lucky, please.
Chris!
Yes?
Pay attention. I'm gonna find out that you went in there and you were playing with Tim and Jen's AirPod that they so kindly let us use whenever we had a blow-up pool. You're gonna be in some serious trouble, and you're gonna be saving up your allowance to pay for a new one for them. Do you understand me?
Yes, ma'am.
Go play in the yard.
Get out of the outside. Oh, I found a different piece. I found a new piece.
I am usually drinking my caffeine. Should be fine. It looks weird because it's cheese on these views. Chris, do not throw things over that fence! Yeah, cool. Don't throw things on the patio, Chris. I just told you to stay where I can see you. Christopher Allen? Christopher! Scooch over this way a little bit. Honey, I'm not sitting at the kitchen table. I need you to do me a favor and stay on this side of the yard so I can see you from the kitchen, okay? Because remember, it's adults' jobs to watch kids, okay? So I gotta be able to see you. Okay, thank you, Chris. Jeez, he went some more he normally does, and he's fine, and I got had a heart attack. Oh shit, I can't see him. Oh, I admit I'm tired. It's not really fun watching me cook, I'm sorry. There. It's easier to see. What, Chris? Okay, speak clearly and slow down. What?
See that piece right there? I was trying to find that. This one. Then it was connected to the inside of my soccer ball.
What was?
This one. This thing.
Oh, that. This?
Yeah.
Why are you trying to find it?
Because I did not see it. Then when I was pressing on it, and then I found it and then I saw it over here. I grabbed it and forced it to get over. Then I pulled it this way, and then I put it down. And then
don't talk about it too much because you might make a hole in your bone.
And then
we already need to dig out the thing to see if we can pump it up with some air.
Then I found it, and then I just that, and then I'm like, filled up with air.
Oh. You can still play with it.
Yeah.
It's just going to be a little bit. Why don't you see how many times you can pick it into your net?
One thing I like to
I'll tell you what, you like trying to do weird things, like one-footed push-ups. Why don't you see if you can get it in the net with your knees?
Oh!
Not in the house.
Let's see if I can.
Love you, Chris. or why'd you say soccer ball?
I don't know.
Thank you for asking so respectfully, but I think Scooter's more Dad's thing. Sorry, kiddo. But I think Dad is gonna find it a little easier to catch it
Well,
if you fall.
I have one for protection.
Yeah?
Yeah. Out, and then when it starts tipping, I use it.
I'll tell you what.
What?
Either find your knee pads and your elbow pads.
I don't have none.
Okay. I don't know, because you used to.
Huh?
You used to have them. And then we'll do it whenever Dad's not there. That way, if you do fall, then you don't do any permanent damage. You're built so lean, honey. I don't want you to get hurt.
One time when I was turning,
Bones aren't very thick.
one time when I was turning, I fell, but I wasn't bleeding. But
Yeah, that's because I made you wear your jeans, because those also kind of protect some of your stuff too.
I don't know where it's from.
That's why I tell you, if you're gonna play hard, don't wear shorts.
Wait, what?
Play hard. If you're gonna play hard. If you're gonna be hopping around and running around in the yard, basically, if you're doing something that you can fall down in rocks or anything, or just on the ground, just in the dirt, wear jeans. Because it's like armor a little bit. It's a little more protection than bare legs or even just regular pants. I'll tell you what.
What?
Growing up, I used to fall down a lot.
Found that in handy?
Yeah. Found that very handy. I'll tell you something.
What?
I got pushed into the street, and this had happened more than once. And this time that I wore the jeans got tore up. But I didn't have a lot of scrape on my knee. My jeans were pretty well and truly destroyed though. It doesn't work as well whenever you become a teenager though, because they make girls' jeans thinner than boys past a certain point, and it's ridiculous. It's like they think that girls are supposed to be all delicate and stuff. They also make our clothes thinner, so then everybody's like, why are girls so cold? It's because the clothing, the thread count is literally less. It's because of a physical difference in men and women. Somewhat, maybe, but not all the way. What, Chris? We're not doing Scooter right now. So you can't do that in the backyard. You have to go out front for that. And there's nobody to watch you out front anymore. I know. How's it work? But you know what? And she was home too, but you know what else? I'm very grateful that your dad goes to work. Because guess what? See these tomatoes I'm cutting up?
Yeah.
We got that because your dad goes to work. See the noodles I got out behind me? That I gotta prepare for the lasagna? We got those because your dad works hard. See this roof over our head? Your bedroom? The toys? Clothes? I know, honey. And you know something?
What?
Dad misses you too while he's at work. You know, you can always ask me. You can send your dad a message on the phone. Remember though, if you use a video to do it, make it short. Okay? Honey, I gotta cut things. I know. I don't think it matters right now. Did you see what I'm recording on? What do you watch eons on? Yeah, how about this? I'll unlock your tablet, and you can go do redos of anything that you want. You like going into the younger grade stuff and listening to some of the stories.
Yeah. I also like the play. I'm not Daniel Quest.
That's not how you get it.
Mommy, please, I'm not Daniel Quest.
I'll tell you what. I'll think about it for later. Remember? Didn't you get in trouble yesterday? Because you didn't want to do your assignment? So why do I need to unlock games? You gotta give me some time to think about it. And remember, why did I have to lock up games in the first place?
Because I was playing on them when I wasn't supposed to.
What were you supposed to be doing while you were sneaking in the games?
Dictionary. Yes.
Schoolwork.
Yes, schoolwork.
You were supposed to be on schoolwork. You told me dictionary.
I had to do my vocabulary.
Yeah, but there were also a few times whenever you got caught, whenever you were on time for learning.
Outside.
I wouldn't have to put a password on that stuff.
Mom?
So that you'd have to ask if you did what you were supposed to.
Can I please do it outside?
You wanna? No, because then you start sitting still and you might. We need to get something, Chris, so that we can make the patio less of a draw to bugs. Because I don't know what it is, but something out there is biting the heck out of you and me.
Yep.
Whenever you're running in the yard, you're fine, but you start getting up there on the patio and sitting still, and no. We'll see what we can find next time we go to the store. How's that?
It's no boy.
Yeah, I don't know what is out there, but it started recently. So whatever it is. Sorry this is so long and has so much pausing. Chris?
Yeah? I want math facts.
Math facts?
Yeah.
Okay. If you want, you can go on that NASA Kids site.
Yay! But I want to play this for a little bit.
Okay, play math facts for a little bit. it's educational. I have no objections. Yeah, today is not a school day for him. We try and keep it open so that he can play with friends. I guess they're all out today. The ones that live right as a neighbors anyway. It looks like a bunch of people just decided to go out today. You know, that happens sometimes. So.
Yay! Oh, we're going to fire one soon.
Hey, Chris.
Yeah? I'm in a rush.
Whenever I have to make stuff for the Halloween party, do you want to help me?
Yes?
Okay.
What did you ask me while I'm in a rush? I have to do it as fast as I can.
Oh, you do you?
Yes.
Well, then do it.
Sure. Hey, Mom, listen. Mom, listen. After I get back in here. See? Literally.
Chris, I know I can hear from over here, but thank you. Oh, how dare I. If you start getting frustrated with it, take a break.
Yay.
I'm sorry, I'm not flattering to look at. What's wrong, kiddo? Hey, do you want to owe the swear jar?
No.
Well then, aren't you glad I caught you before you finished whatever you were about to say?
I about to take you to garbage.
Uh-huh. Except us, I heard that. So,
I'm getting out of.
I know exactly what you were about to say.
I'm going on next Peach Club.
What?
I'm going on next Peach Club.
That's the kids club?
Yeah.
Okay.
Let's go play some. Moving on, Mom. What's Space Pumpkins? What's Space Pumpkins? I'm gonna learn some about Earth. Games. Let's see what's for games. Come on. I put games.
Candace tomatoes. Got this one on sale for 75 cents. Hey Chris,
Yes?
you want to hand me 2 of the big cans of diced tomatoes?
Nice. Sorry, 2 different ones.
Okay. Then I guess it's just coming out of your allowance, huh? I'll tell you what though, honey, it's gonna be double. It's gonna be 50 cents instead of 25.
Why?
Well, that's the fee for taking it out of your allowance. Don't spend money you don't got, kiddo. Try not to owe the swear jar. I made a mistake. I should have used one thing. I may need to move this to a bigger thing. Yeah. That's fine now. The only reason I tried to keep it in the smaller pan was because of the burner. Actually, you know what? I don't need this for the meat anymore. I can do that now. Now, I would honestly recommend not using canned if you don't have to. If you do have to, darn it. You actually have to get out the bag of sugar. Your dad missed it. Your dad really went wild with the marshmallows for the Rice Krispies treats. I think he really wants Rice Krispies treats.
For what?
The Halloween party. I think your dad is trying to tell us something. I think he really wants those Rice Krispies treats. I actually have to buy more sugar. I think it's getting all used up in Dad's coffee. Okay. Let me real quick refill this. I can only do this because I got that stuff on my nails. This strengthens them, otherwise they break. Actually, I think I still managed to chip. Yeah, I shouldn't do that. Chris, stop. What?
Oh, I'm playing Moving on Mars.
Moving on Mars?
Yeah, I think that's a case. Nice crack.
It's not trash, Chris.
Nothing is trash.
Well, don't get mad at the game.
Just wrecked into a wall.
Yeah? Don't get mad at the game. Just focus really hard on getting better at it.
Oh my God. It's so well. So slow.
Alright, now whenever Dad gets home, just tell him that the sugar fairy refilled his sugar. I'm kidding, Chris. Don't actually tell your dad that. He'll still know it was me. Alright, there we go.
Oh dear. What's this?
This is
Did I
coffee
have
sugar.
this level?
Also, coincidentally, the easiest way to do this, which is actually, it neutralizes a lot of the flavor. You don't want too much. Like this. And this is for a big pot. So you don't, this may actually be slightly too much. You only need a little bit. Just enough to neutralize the flavor of the canning process. And the jarring process if you're using jarred. If you're able to use all fresh, then you don't need to do that. Also, if you use it in combination with fresh, it comes out better. For somewhat obvious reasons. What's wrong, kiddo? What?
This is what I'm gonna get that rover to death.
I
That
see.
rover's gonna die.
Yeah, the rover's gonna die?
Yes. Now we really gotta focus on this one.
Yes, I know exactly what I just did. If you don't want to have to do that, and you have to use canned and jarred things, use things that are already seasoned. I do this because it's cheaper. Yes, even when nitpicking with the seasonings and stuff, it's cheaper. It also cuts down on time making it. If you want to use jarred or canned that is already seasoned, and okay.
So close. Oh, I was so close. So close.
Normally I would drain this but there's nothing really in there to drain. Because we bought something that had a low amount of content. It was a good deal for that. At least in Arizona. In other places, not so much. And now, I'm basically going to let it simmer. While I do that, I'm going to cut up these, add them. I'm going to slice them, add them in because they go really good in it. And then, actually, hey Chris, should I use the mushrooms in the sauce? Or should I put them as a layer in one of the lasagnas? A layer in one of the lasagnas?
Yes.
Okay. Kiddo thinks that I should put them in the lasagna, so that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to leave it out of the sauce this time. But oftentimes, I do put some in there. So, I'm going to go ahead and wrap this up, because at this point, it gets even more boring to watch. Because all I am doing is heating this up to kind of get it thoroughly heated. Then I'm going to turn it down somewhere to just about about the 2 or the 3. So there's 1, 2, 3, the third notch. So on this one it goes minimum 1 and 2. And this, I'm going to take it to 2. To kind of simmer it. If you need to, you can adjust it up or down. You want it to simmer, kind of get the flavors in there. You do not want it to overcook or become underneath a certain temperature or above a certain temperature. You want it to simmer, and that's it. You just want to simmer it. Maybe you can simmer it anywhere from an hour to a couple hours. Once you put the meat in it, though, you limit yourself to a couple hours. Otherwise, you're going to end up with tasteless meat. Because you can't actually overcook it. It overcooks the flavor out, and then you don't have any flavor left to the meat, and it doesn't really stand out. So, a lot of, this is a very simple one. Chris, stop. This is a very simple one. You can also add other things, like different cheeses and stuff. Spaghetti sauce is very, you can put a lot of things in it, but this is overall a basic recipe, and some tips if you don't want to do it that way, but still want it to kind of taste kind of like you did. So my grandmother actually gave up on making it from scratch. So she used to tell me stories, how great she was, because she used to do it with big barrels of tomatoes. She used to live in a state where you could do that. That right there is bugging me. I need to organize. Anyway, trying not to look at that right now. So you can actually do this with a lot of tomatoes. There's even a technique where you basically peel the tomatoes first. And that is completely different. I don't use that technique because it is incredibly tedious. You would basically have to blase, I think that's how it's said. I'm not sure. Basically, you kind of heat just the outside of it, and then you just peel off the skin. You can do this for various dishes. I do not do this for my sauce. So, mine is sort of a chunky sauce, but if you want it to be smoother, you can do that. Or you can just take it chunky. It does kind of cook down and become a little more saucy. Now, my big batch that I usually make is actually more involved than this. I did not think that anyone wanted to sit here for the massive all-day thing that is. So, yeah. I can't edit these videos. And this is already almost 2 hours long. The actual cooking itself is not 2 hours long. But there is a lot of waiting that I would like to kind of time skip. I don't have the software, I'm sorry, that costs money. Yeah. Some of the free stuff that I looked at, they have some stuff in their privacy policy that is objectionable, highly. Sorry. I haven't found anything that doesn't want me to sign my soul away. And costs money that we can afford. So, we're opting for neither. I'm sorry. Okay. I am going to go clean up when this is simmering. I may add biscuits in there, and just do that after to kind of break it up. I am breaking this up into different videos. This is a sauce that is meant to be used for the lasagna that I am making. You don't want it to be too chunky for that, so I didn't throw in as much as I usually do. The big chunks of sausage are notably missing. We use that, and sometimes I get the frozen meatballs because that is cheaper than making your own. I love homemade meatballs, and I know how to make them, but it is expensive. It is cheaper if you find something that is made with meat and doesn't have a bunch of filler to make it kind of like a sponge, which is scary and not what a meatball should be. It's easier to find a frozen meatball that isn't like that than it is. It would cost a lot of money. Let me put it that way. Because 1 pound doesn't really make that many meatballs. And you can get about 3 times the amount that you could make with a pound for the same amount of money. So I'm not too prideful to admit that knowing how to make it and finding that it is cheaper to buy them frozen. Yeah, it's because a lot of things are imported here. And there's a lot of price gouging all around. Arizona is pretty corrupt. And yeah, they don't want to pay employees the way that they should out here. But also those same companies aren't really founded in the communities here. So it actually affects the economy here. The government really, I'm just going to go out there and say something very political. The government should not be subsidizing companies. That's something that came about during the Great Depression. Specifically, because of the Great Depression, in times that aren't like that, all it does is cause hardship. Because these companies are relying on those subsidies, and they are, instead of being part of the communities, they are leeching off of them, or standing on top of, instead of it being a sort of symbiotic relationship, which is what it's supposed to be. Right now, business involves taking advantage of subsidies, more than it does listening to your customers. And that actually causes a lot. They just want more money at the top. So you got a bunch of rich people running everything who have more money than brains. They have more money than they could ever possibly spend without being ridiculous. And then you got the people on the bottom, you know, the people who are actually doing the work, who actually hold the company up. You know, people shop with a company rather, you know, based on the work that these people do. And they don't want to pay them for that. They don't appreciate it. It's, to them, this is just, it's completely dehumanized. And that's not how a good business is run. That is how you end up with people hating you. And a business that people end up hating doesn't last. When people start hating you because of your practices, that's when the fall begins. And the solution is not to propagandize. It's to stop being such an asshole. It's to reground yourself in the community. To listen to your customers and your employees. And to understand that they're as human as you are. And that treating them otherwise is shit. And a good way to get a lot of people to hate you. Another good way to get a lot of people to hate you is using slave labor. Outsourcing all of the factory jobs, and generally all of the things that Walmart has done. So, yeah. Alright. Now, some of those tomatoes will cook down a little bit. But it's still going to be a thick sauce. And it's supposed to be, because these two, I live with these two. If you want to thin it down, you can also get a can of, if it's the really small cans, about yay big, you can use 2. But if it's the big one, like, I think it's like 12, 13 ounces-ish. Might be a little bit more, give or take, but it's not the tiny can. It's sort of like a mid-sized can. Like, it's about the size of, like, a can of peas or something that you would normally buy. You can use one of those, put it in, and add some water. Mix it in. What it does is, if you want to do that and use, or you can just get some more tomatoes and crush them utterly, and actually use a blender. Hi, honey. Oh, you know, the sauce is set to simmer, and it's already 4 o'clock. I started the sauce not long after lunch, and start cutting. And then I had Chris lay down for a little while, and I started recording and stuff. It's just kind of been touch and go. Me too. I love you. I miss you too. Okay. Is the one that you got too big or too small? Too big? Okay, yeah, I'll put another hole in the belt, and then I'll also make you a cloth belt. I know. Well, you had a belt that fit you. No, wait, we had to put a hole in that one too. Awkward built stage. Alright, you be safe and blessed here. Yes. Oh no, wait, no he's not. He's playing in his room.
I'm out here.
Oh, sorry, he's out here. He came back out here. No, he just went in his room because I was still recording and I was talking. And he's playing a game on the NASA website for kids. There's a, you know, the kids version, NASA Kids.
And I was playing with
And I was disturbing him. Yeah, I was disturbing him instead of him disturbing me. Yeah, Chris, Dad's on the phone. Hey, no running in the house. You better take off those shoes afterwards.
Hi, Daddy. Love you too. Yeah? Me too. Back and she fell forward.
How do you know if I fell? Maybe I just wanted to go forward. Maybe I just...
Love you too. Okay.
Christopher Allen, take off those shoes and then go stand in the corner. I told you not to run in the house. Oh, hi, honey. Yep. Yep. And that's the second time he slipped, too. I love you, too. Talk to you later. You be safe. I love you, too. Don't kill yourself at work. Did you remember to take something to eat with you? So you're going to be pretty hungry tonight, huh? Okay. I'll make sure that I put an extra layer on the one for tonight just for you. Ooh. Oh dear. Yes, please. What was I saying in my sleep? Oh, I love you too. You be safe, dear. Talk to you later. Bye-bye. My subconscious has no shame. I talk in my sleep. So yep, this is I think I've pretty much said everything that I can about it, without basically making a whole different sauce. You can use, you can doctor jarred and canned sauce, just whatever you said, but it is best that you do it with fresh. If you cannot do that, if you can do some fresh and some canned or jarred, then that is alright as well. And yeah, that's about it. I think I just repeated myself. I'm sorry I can't edit this. I'm gonna end this before it gets any longer. So good luck, and I guess you'll see another video whenever I am doing the lasagna later tonight. And actually not that long.